Hi, CNT120, Chapter 5 Lab on Cabling. So I've downloaded a copy of the lab and I have it handy and ready to go. And I've downloaded my packet tracer file, have that loaded and ready to go. So in this lab, we're actually going to do a bunch of cabling in a network environment. We're going to do some copper cabling for the workstations, then we're going to do some fiber cabling between our switches like we'd have in a real business or a real network. So before we do that, when we open the packet tracer file, let's take a peek at what we got. We have a series of devices here that aren't connected at basically at the Harrisburg site, and then we have a series of devices over here at the Philadelphia site that aren't connected. So that's my logical view. If I look at the physical view, I see there's a Harrisburg office, and over here there's a Philadelphia office. If I zoom into the Harrisburg office, I find that there's two wiring closets, and there's some devices that are going to connect to this one. Some devices are going to connect to this one. Again, this is kind of like a real office building where the building might be large enough that there's two closets on a floor of a building. As I zoom back out and go over to the Philadelphia side, I'll see that really I have the same scenario here. Closet for these devices, a closet for these devices. So I tried to create a scenario that looks like, maybe a company environment where there is a large building, a large number of users, two closets, two sites. So we're going to go through the process of connecting all this stuff up. Now let me go back out here to our main view. I'll go to the logical view for right now. Before we dig in, we also have to remember that in our environment, in our network, a straight through cable is going to get used to connect unlike devices. So a router to a switch, a PC to a switch. So we're going to be using a straight through cable for anything that's different, any unlike devices. Meanwhile, any connection between like devices, router to router or switch to switch, is going to be a crossover cable. So just keep that in mind as we start. All right, we're going to do pretty much everything at the Harrisburg side, and then we'll go and repeat it at the Philadelphia side. So I'm going to go to the Harrisburg side. So I'm going to go to the physical here, Harrisburg office, zoom in. After I'm here, let's go to the main wiring closet. I think that's this one right here. You can zoom in and see the label. We're going to do this one here. Okay, so there's our main wiring closet. We back out just a second. We're now going to connect these devices here into this closet. So the first thing we want to do is the horizontal cabling between this outlet box and the closet, just like we did back in Chapter 2. So let me zoom in a little bit more here. There we go. And we're going to get our cables, and we'll do straight through, and we're going to go from this outlet box into the patch panel in this closet. So we'll click on here and do punch down 1. Click on the closet, look for the patch panel, and we'll go to punch down 1. And we're going to repeat that for the other 4 outlets in this box. So punch down 2, click on the closet, rack, patch panel, punch down 2. That way everything is, organized. Everything is accounted for. I should say everything is logical that we could troubleshoot if we needed to. Punch down 3 for port 3, and punch down 4 for our punch down 4. So there's the horizontal cabling for that office. All right, and that's all what those are here. Let's go to the secondary office and do the second thing, secondary closet, and do the same thing. So I'm going to scroll over here. I'll scroll down, and I'm going to do the horizontal cabling for this closet, for this office. So punch down 1 over to the patch panel, punch down 1. Keep everything, numbered and organized, if you will. Punch down 2 to punch down 2. Punch down 3 to punch down 3. There we are. And then punch down 4 to punch down 4. And there's the horizontal cabling for that office, and that's what all those directions there were for. Now let's do the closet patch cables. So I will just keep organized. I'll go up here to the main closet. I'll open that, and I want to do, just like we did back in Chapter 2, we're going to connect these 4 patch panel ports into the first 4 switch ports right here. So we'll do straight through cable, and we'll go jack 1 into port 1. See how it says Gigabit Ethernet 101? That's our port 1. So we'll do the next patch cable, port 2 or jack 2 over here to port 2, which is right below 1. We'll do jack 3 over to port 3 on the switch, and then we'll do jack 4 over to port 4 on the switch. Again, I'm just holding it there, showing you that last number is our port number 4. So there is the closet patch cables here. Now, I'm not seeing link lights yet because we're going to find out the switch is not powered yet. Okay, so do not panic on that one. Let's go over to the other closet and do the other closet patch cables. Straight through cable, jack 1 into port 1, jack 2 into port 2, jack 3 into port 3, and jack 4 into port 4. Again, I don't see link lights because these are not powered yet. So there is my secondary closet doing those connections right there. Let's now do the work area patch cables. So I'm going to go out one level here. I'll go over to this work area and I'm going to connect the laptop into the outlet and the patch panel into, or excuse me, the PC into the outlet here. And I'm just going to do, I think I tell you to do the PC1 over here into jack 1. So we'll do PC1. We'll do PC1 into jack 1. And then we'll do the laptop into jack 2. It really would not matter if you get those flip-flopped because we still do have all them patched in into the closet or into the patch panel, into the switch in there. Over here we'll do PC into jack 1 and we'll do laptop into jack 2. So everything, if you think back to Chapter 2 lab, we just kind of redid that. We have the horizontal cabling done, we have the closet cables done, and we have the work area patch cables done. All right, so now that we have all that, we now need to power up the switches at our sites. So let's, we're on the physical tab. We're going to go back to the logical, and we're going to take a look at our switches there. So I'm going to go back to the logical tab. And it is possible that these connections might look odd in your version of Pack Tracer. Just gently move the switch a little bit and those connections should snap back in line. Okay, so if anything looks odd there. Now, we see links here, but we want to get these things powered up. So I'm going to click on the switches that are here. And I'm going to make sure we get some power supplies in. So once I've clicked on that switch there, I'll drag my power supply into the switch, and I'll drag a second one in there as well. That should power up this switch. That should power up this switch. And now we'll go over to the other one and do the same thing. We'll drag a power supply in here. We'll drag a power supply in here. And that should start powering up our switch. And that's what we're doing right there at this point. Okay. Alright, now that we have the power supplies in our switches and they've booted up, we want to do a fiber link between the switches. Because normally in an environment like this, we are going to use a fiber optic connection between the switches, between our closets. So I'm going to click on my first switch that's here. I'm going to click on the physical tab, that's this one right here. I might want to zoom in a little bit. I'll make that a little larger. And what I want to do is on the left, I want to select the fiber module that's here. And I'm going to drop it into one of the empty slots in the switch. So we'll do our, right here, the GLH. This is our fiber optic module. We'll slide that into one of the empty slots here. And that's going to give us a fiber port. We're going to repeat that on the second switch over here. We'll grab our fiber module there and we'll drop it in. And now we actually have a spot to connect our fiber cable between. So we're now going to use a fiber cable and connect our two switches. So we'll take the fiber cable here and I'll click on this fiber module and I'll click and drag to the second switch and click on that fiber module. And if I give it a little bit of time, I should see that link come online. I'm going to click on the physical tab here and I'll see that my fiber link is connecting my two closets. As I go back here, I'll zoom out a little bit. You'll see the fiber link is connecting the two closets. So again, that should come online here in a little bit and get us a connection between the closets. And actually there it's just gone green. So we know we have a link between them. Well, let's make the copper connection between the switch and the router. So on here, we'll need to add a copper module to the switch so we can connect to the router. So I'm going to click on the Harrisburg switch again, this one right here, under the physical tab. And this time I'm going to grab the T module. That is my T for twisted pair. I'm going to grab that guy and slide it into the switch. It could be any one of these. I'll just do the far right one over there. I now have a copper port that I could connect my switch to the router with. So now I will do, unlike devices can use a straight through cable, I'll select this one right down here. This is the one I just added, the Gigabit Ethernet 114. So I'll click on that one. If you didn't one of the other slots, it might show up as 112, 113. Any one of those would be fine. I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to click on the router, and I'm going to make sure I'm using the 00 port. That is the one that's configured on the router. That is the port configured on the router, so I need to make sure I do the 00 port. If I give that a minute, that should come online as well. I'll give that just a second. Hopefully that link will settle out real quickly. While I'm doing that, I'll do the physical tab here. I'll zoom out just a little bit. And I should now see all the workstations here getting links, all the workstations here getting links, and I'm seeing a link between my two closets. So we are on our way. And if I go back to my logical tab, I'm seeing a link there as well. So we have our Harrisburg site up and running. I'm going to come back in the next podcast and we'll do the Philadelphia site. We'll do the exact same thing on the Philadelphia site.